Well, we're joined now by team principal at M Sport, Rich Millener. Rich, first of all, let's talk about being here in Portugal. It's hot, it's dusty, first full gravel event of the year, so a real challenge, I think, for everybody this weekend.
I think we kind of get into the meat of the championship now. You know, it's kind of the first 4 events are quite specialist in some ways. Croatia, I guess you could say, is back to Europe, but it's a very tricky tarmac rally. This is the first big gravel rally. A lot of stages the same compared to previous years, so it's a lot of it is down to how committed the driver is, how good the pace notes are, and talking, you know, millimetre accuracy here. So it's going to be a big challenge for us to continue with the momentum we've gained in the first part of the season. But I think we're ready for it. What
a start it has been for Adrian Fourmaux. You know, a couple of podiums, comes here still third in the championship. So a great start for him. But as you said, from now on things probably will get a little bit more difficult because we have moved away from the uniqueness of those first few events. So what have you been talking to Adrian about? How does he approach this rally and the upcoming gravel events?
I think our strategy at the start of the year was to be sensible in the first 3, get finishes, get points. We've done that and we've got 2 podiums, so that was almost a little bit more than we were expecting. It's not something I didn't expect him to be capable of, but to get such good results so early was very good for the team and for him. But I think we know now going forward, the approach of being slightly more sensible towards the end of the rally is probably not going to work on these events. He will get left behind. So the amount of effort and pace he's going to need to put in to stay in those similar positions is going to go up. But I think what happened in Croatia on that power stage was actually a really good opportunity for him to show him the level that he can drive at. Maybe not for an entire rally, but certainly what can be pushed towards if you need to. And I think he has a really good mental place at the moment. He's worked very hard on his concentration levels and his pace notes and the whole job basically, and it's showing. So, we've been lucky with the new points as well in terms of, certainly in Croatia that saved us a little bit. So we've been lucky to hold on to there, but it's the same for other drivers, and I think the battles are going to intensify now.
I'm glad you mentioned the run through the power stage in Croatia, which, by the way, you can go and watch on the official WRC channel on YouTube.
Nice plug.
That's what I do. It was, but it was phenomenal. that was up there with the best that we have seen from the likes of Sebastian Ogier, Thierry. He was properly committed through there.
I think, I sent the link to Malcolm as soon as I got it, and his response I probably can't say on here, but there was a lot of exclamation marks and dollar signs and that. You get the gist. He then sent it on to people within Ford who came back with similar responses. Mark Rushbrook came back and said, I've just used 16 minutes of my life because it was that good. I watched it twice. I think it goes to show the pure commitment these guys are on and the level of commitment you need to put in to get the fastest times. In terms of power stage times, he didn't just win that stage, he kind of obliterated everybody
he dominated
else.
it.
So it was amazing to watch, and just goes to show how in sync the driver and co-driver is on one piece of road at 10 kilometres long. Their skill level is incredible.
The difficult thing is, as you said, stringing it together for an entire rally, and I think, one of the key strengths with Adrian at the moment is his mental place. He's just getting in the car and driving it. He's forgetting about everyone else around him and just doing what he does. But as we said, potentially things might start to get a little bit more difficult as we go to gravel. He's going to have to up the ante a little bit, as you say, to keep in touch with the guys ahead of him. Let's talk a little bit about Gregoire. Slightly different strategy for him, isn't it, this year? It's all about learning.
It's really hard for him, to get thrown into a full season, a lot of events that he's never done at all, and a lot of events he's never done in a Rally 1 car, and expect him to be on the pace of the other guys is really a challenge. But to be fair to him, every rally he's put in a couple of times here and there that have been really quite impressive, beating people like Andreas in the previous rally, and you look at the level of experience between the two, it's hugely different. So to be able to match someone like Andreas with his experience and seat time in the top level car was great to see. The goal with Gregoire is to build slowly over the season. It's frustrating for him because he wants to go quicker and progress quicker, but we've seen that that's not always the right way to try and go about things. It takes a number of years to get to the top level when you're fighting against the best in the world, and that's who he is fighting against. So it's really difficult to do, but I think he's had a very good approach so far.
The key thing is seat time, and that's what he's getting. The car's going back in the truck straight. It's not going back bent. So, and you don't get seat time if she's upside down in a ditch. So that's that is the key thing for Gregoire.
You can make the smallest of mistakes like we saw in Kenya, and you lose the entire day. That's a lot of driving. When you're limited on the amount of time you can test, we're limited on the budgets, which also limits our testing. And the events are the place to get the mileage, like you say. You make a mistake and you sit out for the rest of the day, you lose so much time in the car. there is always a very difficult balance between trying to push and improve, but also not make a mistake. So it's not easy. It's very easy to criticise and commentate from here, where I'm stood, but in reality, they have a tough job on their hands.
Let's talk about Elfyn Evans and Thierry Neuville, because obviously it has been a great start for you guys, but it's also been, well, we've got a banger of a fight on our hands, haven't we?
Juicy, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's really getting going, and it's been 6 points between them for a couple of rallies now. What do you make of the battle between Thierry and Elfyn, and where are you slapping your money down? Come on, don't mess about.
Oh, well,
what money?
Yeah, I haven't got any money left. I think what we saw in Croatia was mega. Like, to go home and think about what they did on the end of that first full day of competition, to be on the same tenth of a second is madness.
It's mental.
You watch any other forms of racing, a circuit race maybe lasts for an hour and a half and there's gaps of 20, 30 seconds. We did an hour and 5 minutes driving off-road on completely different conditions for every car, and we were the same on a tenth of a second. The problem is we actually go, well, that was close. But it doesn't surprise us like it should, because we're so used to it.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like a Formula 1 Grand Prix and first and second crossing the line together, having been racing together throughout the entire event. That's basically what we saw in Croatia.
You try and drive for an hour and 5 minutes in your road car against your mate and finish on the same tenth of a second at the end of it. It's just, and they're going as fast as they possibly can. And by the end of the second day, it was 6 seconds. Like, it's mad, and it's so good how close the cars are. We're in a very different budget and strategy to the other teams, yet we're still able to mix it, and it's fantastic for the fans to watch. We all want to improve this sport and make it bigger and better going forward, but as I keep saying, this sport has some mega stories in it, and it's so exciting to watch. As for who's going to win, I've no idea. I've got to support Elfyn. He's in my homeland. No?
Rich, listen, thanks a lot for your time. Have a great weekend. Tough old rally, but we're all rooting for you guys.
Thanks very much.